Welcome to Aligned Trading. Today I'm going to be going over a video on how I see the algorithms and the microstructure forming real time with trades that I actually took. So the chart that I'm going over is going to be this chart right here, and I'm going to be showing how I see the algorithms forming real time and what I'm looking for in terms of microstructure, my price levels, and my entries and exits with the replay feature here on TradingView. This video was actually recommended by a member for me to make. I asked the group if there were any specific topics or lessons that I could cover that would help anyone, and this was one of them. So thank you very much for the recommendation, and hopefully this helps. Now getting into the video, let's take a look at the replay. So right off the open here of the session, this will be the first couple candles. So first thing that I'm noticing right here is we see these wicks, and this is where I would look for my first algo right there as a controlled selling algo. So if we go ahead and we make the same one right there, now let's press play again. Okay, so we are seeing that we bounced off of it once and twice here. Now we're only a few minutes into the session, so I still would not be looking for any trades. And what I would actually be seeing now is we have the controlled selling. So the possibility of us breaking out, right? That is possible. We can now move higher. But what I'm looking for here now is I'm seeing two possible algos, one being this buying algorithm right here. So if we have that is a buying algorithm right here, and then we go ahead and we see this possible tapering algorithm right here that I would be keeping an eye on as well if we wanted to break down. So right there, we already have three algorithms that I'm looking for within the first few minutes. And then the microstructure would be I'm looking for if we're starting to reject this with a head, we have a shoulder here, and we want to break down out of the algorithm, or I'm watching if this is starting to continue higher. We see this same controlled selling algorithm as we do here, and then higher once again, and so on. So let's go ahead and press play now and see how this continues to form. Yeah. So right there, as I was saying, I would be looking for this possible tapering algorithm and that head and shoulder right here. And that is what you see. Now, to take this, right, you would have this level right here as the shoulder. But what I would want to see is this start to close at this level right here and then form that same algorithm that we have right here and then give us the move lower. If it does not do that, we can still see this as some sort of controlled selling right here, whether it is this algo or we have maybe a new algo like this, which I can go ahead and chart right here as a possibility if this is also a algo we are seeing to control the selling. Now let's go ahead and press play again. Okay, so we're no longer seeing this low right here being taken out, and this has not been tested. So what I'm now seeing is a possible head and shoulder inverse right here, as well as this same controlled selling, and maybe possibly now we're starting to see a stronger controlled selling algorithm, which can move us higher like that as we taper and there is no more selling to the downside. We start to do this before a move like that. So there's actually a trade that I took coming up within the next couple candles, and it ended up being a loss, and I'm going to go over that. But first, let's watch where I entered and why. So right here at 946, I am starting to see this inverse head and shoulder forming right here, as well as this controlled selling we have. So I can add another band right here possibly, and I'm also beginning to see maybe another one right here. So we have these algos now, and I'm watching for this possible inverse head and shoulder if we want to move back up and touch maybe the upper band of this up here. So let's go ahead and press play again. So right here is where I took my entry on this 947 candle right here, and you're going to see why it was a loss and where I got stopped out. But so far, right, we have this inverse head and shoulder. We're looking for this breakout. Let's press play. So we're continuing to hold that level well right here. We did not break back below it and try to invalidate that. We're getting some move higher right here. And with that move higher is actually this algorithm right here. If you see, we can go ahead and add this. As we saw before with this first algo, it gave us a breakdown, right, with this head and shoulder, so we know that it can break through this algo if we start to break down again right here. So I know where my risk is. I know that I want to stop out below this support, and if that happens, that's all good. We're a little bit in the green right here. We're still looking for that upside and seeing if we can get continuation. Now let's go ahead and press play again. Okay, so we're starting to see this algo give up a little bit right here. However, we're not breaking down yet, and we do see this tapering algo right here. We're hugging the bottom of it right there. Now we're going to see what continues. Okay, so this candle right here, we retested that level again. Still all good. We have not broken down. And right here is where I took the stop out. It broke down below my level. We can see we had some sort of tapering right here with this same algorithm. You can see it breaks down from that algorithm right here and gives this possible inverse cup once again starting to form if we form that handle, or we want to maybe do something like that before making a move back higher off of this head and shoulder and forming a possible cup. Let's go ahead and press play again. So I'm stopped out of this trade right here, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, so we are seeing that after we got stopped out, it's trying to still make a move up. We're getting rejected once again here, and we're starting to form some sort of resistance right at this level right here. And if you see, we can distinguish that this is a resistance. Now I'm going to be looking for a short entry, and I believe I take one right on this candle right here. So at 10:04, right here is where I take this entry off of this shoulder. So we can see this head, you see this shoulder, and this other shoulder right here, possibly giving us this inverse cup breakdown. Now let's see how it plays out. Boom. Just like that, there is that breakdown off of that rejection because this controlled selling right here was the risk as well. So we were watching if this started to form right here, we knew that it could go up, and my risk for this entry was just above this level right here. I knew that if we gained support on it, then it was no longer probably going to break down. So if this right here started to move up, then that was no longer going to be to the downside. However, we got these two nice candles, and right here, I would protect my trade as we have closed this cup right here. Even though there is lower, this is a good point to take some profits after a nice move like that. This is almost 70 cents right there. The other reason I say to take some profits is because we still do have this liquidity above right here if we want to form some sort of bounce right here. Excuse me, not that, but a shoulder right here and move higher again like that. That is possible. This could just be a liquidity grab to the downside and then right back up if we start forming support back above this level right here that we noticed was resistance. That is going to be a potential long entry, as well as because we have this algo. So if we come back in this algo right here and start to move higher, you can see that it is tapering with this algorithm, and then you see that right there. So let's go ahead and press play now. Okay, so we see that this engulfs back up, so we know that this is strong to the upside. However, there's no need to rush on this candle immediately. First here, you can see we are starting to hold above this level right here. However, the level I want to see is right here. So if we hold above that, this is where I'll be looking for an entry. All right, we're starting to get some breakout here. And just so I know where my entry was, we can see that on this candle at 1013 on the retest of this area. So 1013 right here, the next candle we're going to see. And right there, off of that wick you just saw, is where I actually took my entry. And now my risk was below this right here, this shoulder right there. I was willing to risk if we came back down here and then continued higher, I would be okay with that. However, if we went back below it, I was going to stop out as this could be another head and shoulder and we could break back down possibly. So let's resume this right here and see how my trade continues. Okay, so we are starting to see this algorithm once again. As you can see right here, this algorithm is starting to move us higher. And if we go ahead and add it right there as well. Now let's see how this continues. All right, we are seeing some sort of possible tapering right here. As we can see, this is starting to taper possibly, so we're just going to keep an eye on it as we are starting to get this breakout right here now. So we can see where my next entry is right here. When we started forming some momentum, I protected my trade on this first push here. So if we look, I had taken a protect right here and then started adding more as the momentum started to come in, and we will go over this right here now. So this tapering algorithm that we were paying attention to, just to make sure if we had runners in, we want to see this and make sure we know what it's doing. However, we are seeing this controlled selling algorithm right here now. If we notice this, we can see we have that, and then we also have it right here as well. You could say this is the controlled selling algorithm, even though it is a couple candles. This is the same one right here, taking the price higher. Now, I usually don't add all of these ones because I just see it with my eyes, but we're going to now see how this continues. Okay, now I am seeing that algorithm that we talked about right here being this algorithm to take us higher. Once again, that same algorithm is going to be this right here. So if we go ahead and make one like that, and then we go ahead and put it up there, we can see that this could be a potential controlled selling algorithms. And with this controlled selling algorithm that we have right here, it is also not exact. I'm going to show you on my chart. The angle is a little bit more like this, and the way I get it is from the previous day. Sometimes right here, this was the yellow algorithm, and if I go ahead and I drag it up, you see that it is the same algorithm today, the exact same one right there. It matches all of the selling, and that is how I'm able to identify it right here and take these ads. So right here, I'm seeing this same controlled selling right here. So if I go ahead and I add this right here, delete this one, and I go ahead and press play, you're going to see that I start to take some ads in here because of the controlled selling. I am being mindful that my risk is if we start breaking below this shoulder right here, right? So if this is not this controlled selling that we see with this blue and then this pink, and we do start breaking down with this inverse cup and it starts forming that shoulder, then I will know that that is my risk below this right here, or even right there if you wanted. Now, what I want to see to hold now is this inverse head and shoulder like that, the micro one, and see if we can hold that level right there to continue breaking higher with this algorithm right there. So we can see it starting to possibly form. Let's press play. Okay, so that is what I want to see right there. You see these candles holding. We're starting to break out now, and we're going to see if that algorithm right here starts to kick in. So if we drag this over and we add it right here, let's see if this starts to work. There it is. So we'll go ahead and add it right here as well. Okay, right here with the red candle, I am protecting my position. You can see I protect on the way up as I start to see red candles right here. And when I see the controlled selling, however, right, you see this starting to come in with, we drag this algo right there, and we go ahead and add it again. Let's see if this is controlled selling, and maybe even possibly this algo as well to show that we are stronger. So right there you see the algo. Now we're going to press play. Okay, and right there we get this move higher. Again, I am protecting my trade as we go higher, and with the momentum, I add into more. As we see, these candles are starting to get some more volume down here. This is the volume's increasing, so I add into it, and we're going to see how this continues. We have this same algorithm once again after the controlled selling. Let's go ahead and watch this start to form now. So we're seeing some red candles. However, right here, we're not looking for puts yet, because if we want to see something for the downside, we're going to watch this head and shoulder break back below this, and then we can possibly see some downside. Otherwise, we're going to be looking for that controlled selling algorithm right here, as well as the one right here. So if we drag this up again, we're going to see if it holds the price and gives us another entry. Okay, and just like before, we are seeing that it is trying to stay within the price, but we break down here because, like I explained, the liquidity is sitting right here, and this is a possible area we can break down. So we did have this try to form this inverse head and shoulder here. However, it broke back down below this level and gave this head and shoulder. Now right here, I did not take this first breakdown. I was not ready for it. It happened a little bit too fast, and I was waiting for some confirmation with a shoulder, because as before we had with this move right here, it reversed. I did not want to see the same thing happen here and end up being stopped out right back up to the upside when it grabs the shoulder and breaks out of this same selling algorithm. So we're now looking for this inverse cup to start closing right here, and we want to see a handle with this tapering algorithm right here. If we see this tapering algorithm, we now want to see that it continues like this. So we're going to go ahead and find the tapering algorithm right here, and then go ahead and put it down here and see if we can see the handle form to give a breakdown. Possibly a head and shoulder is what I would prefer, and then get that move, completing that inverse cup at this next level, and so on. So let's go ahead and see if that is what we get. Okay, right here, I am starting to see some tapering. You see it right there. This tapering algo, we are possibly looking like we want to move higher unless we see that head and shoulder like that. Okay, so as I was explaining, if this did want to sweep back to the upside, that is why not rushing in anything right here at this level yet, possibly waiting for the retest here and then seeing if we come down. Let's watch and see if that's what we do, because we do have this liquidity up here if we do want to break out. Okay, so right there, we looked like we wanted to go up. However, we did not hold above this shoulder. We still can come down into this area maybe and try to come back. So we're waiting for an entry right here if this does begin to hold this shoulder, possibly seeing that controlled selling and then a move higher. Okay, so right here you see that head and shoulder as well as this tapering algorithm right here we're still seeing, and we know that if we want to break down below this level, we have this shoulder right here and the larger shoulder right here, and this is actually a trade that I end up taking right here. I entered a little bit early because I was looking for this move lower. We started seeing some volume come in, and now we're going to watch how it slowly formed and what I was looking for within the trade. Okay, so we are still seeing that same tapering algorithm that we had right here, and we're now seeing it once again. If we can break down right here, this is what we'll be looking for if we break out of that. Okay, so what we saw right there is we have this same buying algorithm working. You see it right here, and then you are going to see it previously here as well, controlling the buying and then breaking us down. Now right here, we're starting to see that tapering, and we get this starting to move down off of the shoulder right here that I had mentioned that I wanted to see it retest, and you can see that that is what it formed right there. So we have this tapering and this as well to give us this breakdown now, and we're looking for it to sweep that. So we are getting this breakdown below this level right here. Now we are watching to see if we hold below it, or do we come back up once again and try and grab the liquidity within this controlled selling right here and not break down and give us that inverse cup. Okay, so we are looking for that same algorithm right here now again, seeing if we are able to form a sort of taper right here on the buying, and possibly again another shoulder right here, looking for something like that to break down. Again, this the same buying algorithm right here is that one right there. So we're identifying this. And there we go. So we're starting to form this shoulder right here, looking to see if we can break down right here. We need to crack the low. And we're not, and we're starting to see this tapering right here that we saw before. We are seeing once again. So if this again starts to taper and wants to move back higher, that is something to be watching. And there it is right there. You can see this head and shoulder. You see that shoulder, and it starts breaking down. And this was again another trade that I took. This trade ended up actually being a loss, and I'm going to show you why. We look like we're starting to break down here, and everything looks good to go test this level. However, we start forming some support right here, getting those wicks and not breaking down, as well as seeing this continued tapering right here, possibly as we start to form maybe something like this before we break back up. So my trade, I took an entry right along here, and I took another entry right here, and my risk was a back above this level, and then on this candle right here, you're gonna see I get stopped out. The move starts continuing higher. Now we are watching for this possible inverse head and shoulder with this liquidity if we want to come back up and start moving higher, forming this larger cup. If we want a breakout like that is what I am watching for. However, I am still seeing this same algorithm right here, and I am seeing this algorithm right here. So we are going to watch and see if we can see some sort of continuation like that. Okay, so right here, we're starting to see maybe it wants to break down again. And if so, this will be what we want to see, that head and shoulder out of the algorithm. Okay, so right here, this is starting to look a little bit more weak than strong because we do have this level right here, but it also can be an imbalance and we can break through it very easily. So I am paying attention to that. We're also starting to see this controlled selling possibly again right here, this algorithm. So if this is starting to take us higher again, we are going to watch spying algorithm right here again. And we have this tapering too. So if this tapering does start right here, we're going to be watching for the breakdown. Right here, we're still seeing that weakness. We're seeing this head and this shoulder form again to break down below this level right here is where it can do it. There it is. There's those massive candles. However, I did not take this trade. I was done for the day, but this is what I would have been looking for if I did. I just took these trades right here. I did not take any of these trades. The reason also that this big move happened right here is because you can see a sort of wedge forming here, as well as these algorithms both working with each other. So you have this possible controlled selling as well as this algorithm right here, and it just gets tight and then boom, drops down like that. And the way you confirm that it was going to drop versus move up is if we were going to move up within the wedge, we would have seen this start to grab the liquidity here and move up. But instead, you see that it is tapering still like that. And once you get this head and shoulder, that is the breakdown, as well as this level right here that we really cannot gain anything up. We're just kind of sitting here trying to retest it until we break down. So let's watch now how this continues on. Okay, so right here, that was the level, that was the target. I would be taking my position, especially after this last wick right down here. Now we are starting to come back up, and we do know that there is the liquidity above if it wants to move higher and hit some sort of reversal like that within a possible selling algorithm that is like that. Okay, so right here, we're watching for this same algorithm. If we want to break down lower right there, and then we're also going to be watching this buying algorithm, and then seeing if this tapering starts again right there. So let's watch and see if we see some tapering. Okay, so we're trying to break out of this algorithm. However, we could just be retesting this low right here and then come back up. So right there, we see this possible head and shoulder forming, and we're going to be seeing if we do break down now like this. There it is. You see that shoulder right here if we want to break down, but it is not continuing. And just like that, there is the inverse head and shoulder after the breakdown for the possibility to come back up and grab it like this. So you have to be paying attention to that anytime that you get a move down like this. What is above you? Is there a possibility that it is very easily to come back up? Same thing right here. We see this tapering. This is not a high probability short right here. Just a small move down and then boom, right back up. But we can still be watching if this wants to continue to form that and maybe a larger tapering flag like this. Higher entirely, need to see back above this level right here. Okay, so right here, we're starting to see this head. And then again, if we want to break down, we need to see that shoulder right at this level. So again, there's that shoulder off of this tapering algorithm you see, and then we get that shoulder to break down. Still watching this same algorithm, seeing if we want to start stair stepping down like this, or the same thing we've been doing and seeing this inverse head and shoulder trying to come back up before it will create something like this again. So let's see if it makes another shoulder or we do continue moving higher. So right there, we're seeing this buying algorithm still. Let's watch if it breaks down again. So right here, there is a possible short if we get below this shoulder now. So we get some sort of rejection and come back down below that shoulder. This would be a possibility for an entry as we are breaking that level right here. This range right here between these two levels, choppy. Okay, are we possibly trying to form this shoulder right here with this controlled selling? For me to enter long right here, I would want to be, like I said, back above this level right here. So if we come back above this level, I will be interested in being long, but if not, still be tapering. You're seeing this start to taper right here with that algorithm that we see right here. And we're now watching again for this head and shoulder. Starting to form resistance at the top of this range right here. Okay, we have formed an inverse cup right here. Now you see this inverse cup. Let's see if we get a handle and start moving lower. So right here with this possible controlled selling, what we would need to see to enter is that head and shoulder inverse. So right here, if it came back up, you could, but you can't just be entering on a green candle as it does this with the possibility that we are starting to taper and form that head and shoulder. And we're now starting to break down and watching for this shoulder below this level right here. See if we're forming this inverse cup and we get this handle with that shoulder as well as right here and this ultimate level that I want to see. And just like that, there is the breakdown. You see right there at that shoulder, that inverse cup. And now same thing, this algorithm once again, if it wants to go lower, and it is trying now to come back up and grab the liquidity. For me to be bullish, I would want to see it regain that level right here and then this level up here still. So that right there basically sums up how I would be watching the chart real time, seeing the algorithms and the microstructure. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you.